Good morning and welcome to World News on TVP World. I'm Anna Kalczyńska. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has discussed the escalating situation in the Middle East with US President Donald Trump and how they can work together to mitigate the impact of the conflict on energy markets. The two leaders also discussed the war in Ukraine and the need to maintain pressure on Russia.
Good call with President Trump ahead of the G7 summit. We discussed the tense geopolitical situation in the Middle East as well as the need for close coordination on the impact on energy markets. We also discussed the situation in Ukraine, the imperative for a ceasefire, and the need to keep up pressure on Russia. Finally, we took stock of the ongoing trade talks. I reiterated our commitment to reach a good deal before July 9th.
And President Donald Trump, together with Russian President Vladimir Putin, held a lengthy call Saturday to discuss the escalating situation in the Middle East and Russia's war in Ukraine. He feels, as I do, that this war should end, said Trump, who added the conversation went on for about an hour. Israel attacked the headquarters of Iran's defense ministry and caused a fire at an oil refinery near Tehran, while Iran launched missiles at Israel, making this the most direct attacks between the opponents yet. The overnight strikes on Israel, including those on the cities of Haifa and Tel Aviv, killed at least 8 people, among them children, according to emergency services. Israel's foreign ministry said that sirens sent millions across the country to shelters. This recent infliction of violence follows Israel's surprise offensive on Friday, intended to curb Iran's nuclear program. According to Iranian media, Israeli attacks killed a minimum of 80 people over the 2 days, of which 20 were children. Amid the ongoing conflict, Iran cancelled the 6th round of nuclear talks with the United States. As the foreign minister Abbas Araghchi said, the continuing negotiations in light of Israel's attacks is futile. We will hit every site and every target of the Ayatollah regime, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu boldly said on Saturday, indicating further escalation with Iran.
We have paved the path to Tehran. Very soon you will see Israeli aircraft, the Israeli Air Force, our pilots, in the skies above Tehran. We will hit every site and every target of the Ayatollah's regime. And what they have felt so far is nothing compared with what they will be handed in the coming days. We struck a very severe blow to Iran's main enrichment site, and if necessary, we will strike again. We hit the conversion facility, which is essential for making nuclear bombs operational. We also targeted the leading team of scientists behind these projects, and that will undoubtedly set them back, potentially for many years. All of this has already been done, but there is more we will do.
The EU's top diplomat, Kaja Kallas, has issued a stark warning. Iran must never be allowed to acquire a nuclear weapon. She cautioned that further escalation in the region is highly likely.
Spoke with Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi. Risk of further escalation in the region is dangerously high. Diplomacy must prevail. The EU has always been clear. Iran must never be allowed to acquire a nuclear weapon. Only diplomacy can lead to a lasting solution. The EU is ready to support.
U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has confirmed that American anti-drone system components were moved from Ukraine to the Middle East. Speaking on Fox News, Hegseth referenced his recent testimony before Congress, where he was asked directly whether counter-unmanned aerial systems had been redirected. His answer, yes, we did. The defense chief explained the shift as part of the broader efforts to protect U.S. personnel in an increasingly complex global threat landscape. This confirmation comes just days after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky raised concerns over the redirection of the critical anti-drone technology. For Ukraine, these components are reportedly a key technology for countering Russian UAVs. President Volodymyr Zelensky announced that a new group of officers, border guards and surgeons had been returned home in a prisoner exchange with Russia on Saturday. In his nightly address, Zelensky said most of these soldiers had been held since the first year of the war. He added that more exchanges are expected to take place next week.
Today, there was another exchange, the fourth one this week. It is very important we are bringing our guys home from Russian captivity. And this time we managed to bring back, in particular, our Ukrainian officers, army officers and border guards. Of course, soldiers and sergeants are also in this exchange today. Many of them have been held captive since 2022. These are the defenders of Mariupol, Azovstal and guys from other areas of the war. They are already at home, already in Ukraine. All of them are being provided with the necessary assistance after being wounded and after the harsh conditions of captivity in Russia. Their conditions are really very difficult. We are working to bring back all our other people who are now in Russian captivity. We are planning to continue the exchanges next week. At least this is the agreement. We hope that the Russian side will fulfill its part of these humanitarian obligations and do as agreed.
Moving on to another update from Ukraine's fight against the Russian invasion, the Next News site has posted video footage which it says shows multiple drone strikes on a massive chemical plant in Russia's southwestern Stavropol region. Ukrainian media report that the early Saturday strikes targeted the Nevinomysk Azot facility, which is Russia's largest producer of nitrogen fertilizers and ammonia. A second chemical concern in the southern Samara region was also reportedly hit. The Stavropol regional governor confirmed that drone debris had fallen in the industrial zone of Nevinomysk. Russia's Ministry of Defense says it shot down 66 drones overnight. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban's Fidesz party is accusing the main opposition party, Tisza, of issuing death threats against the Prime Minister. Speaking to TVP World, Hungarian MEP Zoltán Tár, originating from Tisza, addressed these accusations against the opposition.
This is not our style. We are not attacking the Prime Minister. We are an opposition which is within the rule of law, tries to save the country from the hands of our Prime Minister and his gang, from the corruption, from the decline in economy, from the high inflation, from the very, very difficult and bad situation in healthcare, and more recently, the major issues with public transportation. All of this, what Orban doesn't want to talk about. So that's why he creates all these narratives.
U.S. President Donald Trump told crowds at a huge parade in Washington to mark the military's 250th anniversary that America's soldiers never give up, never surrender, and always fight to win. The display, involving nearly 7,000 troops, coincided with Trump's 79th birthday. The U.S. leader said the country's enemies understand that if America is threatened, its forces would come for them.
Time and again, America's enemies have learned that if you threaten the American people, our soldiers are coming for you. Your defeat will be certain, your demise will be final, and your downfall will be total and complete. Because our soldiers never give up, never surrender, and never, ever quit. They fight, 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 and they win, win, win. Thanks to their extraordinary service and devotion, 250 years later, America stands tall, America stands proud, and America stands free. We're the hottest country in the world right now. And our country will soon be greater and stronger than ever before.
Latvia's parliament has passed a law barring the country's MEPs and other state officials from traveling to Russia and its ally Belarus on grounds of national security. Violating the ban could result in dismissal from their post.
The restrictions are also extended to other state officials, including those working with classified information on critical infrastructure, as well as diplomats and members of the judiciary. The move comes amid escalating regional tensions as Russia continues its war in Ukraine, ignoring appeals from the US, the European Union, and Kyiv for a ceasefire. The Baltic states of Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, all former Soviet republics which lie close to or border Russia, view the war as an existential threat to their own security and have repeatedly warned that Moscow could launch further aggression in the region. The law passed on Thursday also tightens restrictions on Russian and Belarusian nationals inside Latvia, prohibiting them from owning critical infrastructure.
From soldier to soldier, a shared experience means a lot. In a gesture of support and appreciation, Dutch Marine veterans have undertaken a major challenge running 2,600 kilometers from The Hague to Kyiv to raise funds for Ukrainians with post-traumatic stress disorder. In Warsaw, where they stopped for some rest, they were joined by veterans from Ukraine. Natalia Komarov has more on this emotional pursuit in her report.
A group of Dutch Marines stopped to rest in Warsaw as they run from The Hague to Kyiv. Their goal is to raise funds to cover providing therapy to Ukrainian veterans suffering from PTSD.
Myself suffered from PTSD, so post-traumatic stress syndrome, and I suffered from it, and I see how the guys are suffering from it there, and the rehabilitation is not much in Ukraine. So we started thinking, right, what can we do to raise money and raise attention and really show solidarity with our brothers in arms.
And how much money did you manage to raise?
Well, yesterday we hit 100,000 euros, so that was a crazy moment.
Every euro counts. Ukrainian soldiers return from the front lines with unimaginable trauma, causing flashbacks, nightmares, and panic attacks. In severe cases, PTSD can make it impossible to lead a normal life.
Many soldiers who were on the front lines experience a lot of stress and psychological trauma. It's very difficult, and it's necessary to explain this to people and help the soldiers. They go through all this because they are heroes who defend their homeland, and it is necessary to help them transition away from war to peaceful civilian life.
The main struggle with PTSD, you must understand yourself, that you have a problem, and you must have to try to find some specialists, some brothers and sisters in arms, some other guys who have the same problems, and you must at first speak about this. I have problems.
From The Hague through Berlin, Poznan and Warsaw, all the way to Kyiv, the Dutch Marines will cover 2,600 kilometers on foot.
Raising funds is tough, but running every day, it's like with a backpack of 12 kilograms, we do 120 kilometers a day. So it's really, it's a mental aspect to it, of course, yeah.
But for military men who are used to taking action, all of this is easier to do than sitting on the couch while a friendly nation suffers a brutal invasion. For TVP World, Natalia Komarov.
And that's all in this edition of World News, but please stay with us here on TVP World for more news and other features.